Hello, it's Brian here, and today I'm going to talk about some things like about hitting rock bottom, addictions and anxiety, and we're going to have a drink as well. I am drinking New Belgium Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force Fruit Punch IPA. Pretty high ABV, 99.5%. But this is a go-to that I like. You can almost hardly call it a beer. It's so fruity. I'm drinking it in my Belgian mug. And as I talk about that, I've just been thinking about computers, AI, and programming, even though those aren't exactly the same thing, but there's just something kind of interesting about that to me. And also being human and efficiencies and detachment and the difference between that and human beings. And it's also good to be human and to want to be human, but how come I've thought I've hit rock bottom at times as maybe an alcoholic, or certain times am I desiring this not a weirdness, but catastrophe or decisive moment to get me to change my life and to forever change me into with a mission or something. A conversion that is so set in stone, so deliberate that I will never do certain things again. I know what I'm doing with the utmost confidence. Maybe that's kind of what I'm hoping for, but I did want to write a blog post about hitting rock bottom not too long ago when I've had a particularly bad night after a lot of drinking, heavy drinking, binge drinking specifically, and some other things that make me want to stop drinking, binging is bad days starting with hangovers and just having a negative disposition throughout the day, not feeling very well, your brain kind of going negative like almost automatically as default, and that's not a good thing. Even if you're at a bad job, that's not going to help. And another thing I wanted to bring up was bad brain programming in humans. And that's kind of how addiction and anxiety can be a bad thing. Not that they're easily solved, and there's a lot of ways you can define anxiety, but addiction might be a little more clear cut. But I guess I can kind of see addiction and anxiety as bad human programming, and just kind of going on this default program, instant reaction, just reacting to your thoughts and just going for that thing that you really want right away without any other concern or consequence. You just want to seek that out, maybe in an excessive or greedy way. And at times I find, I guess I'm kind of talking about why I want to stop drinking excessively alone, to put it more specific. There are times when I drink where I get to a point where I just don't want to stop during a binge, and I just keep going without even thinking about it, kind of like I was saying. And I do not want to do that anymore, and that's a very negative thing. You lose your faculties and you might hurt yourself eventually in that state. And my notes are kind of mixed up here, but for me, when I drink, Facebook kind of goes hand in hand, and my status updates become really dark and depressing and even nihilistic at times, and that's actually not how I am most of the time. But when I drink, I get to a certain point, it just gets to that, and that utter honesty is too much. And people don't really want to see that, and it probably makes people uncomfortable, even though, darn it, that's the truth. That came from me, in vino veritas, in wine the truth. Yeah. But you're losing some things that you should hold back, even though it's maybe unauthentic to do that. You really should hold some things back and not make rash decisions that your faculties may keep track of when you're sober. And like I was talking about before, that hitting rock bottom, that definitive point of catastrophe, that I kind of find appealing, not a dealing. That's an interesting way to put it, but appealing, or I'll never change again. I'm doing this for the good all the time. Unfortunately, I do understand now, or fortunately, I do understand. We do have our ups and downs, and it's not always so easy to just quit. Not that I'm quitting entirely, but I do want to quit to a large extent. I consider this social drinking, so I will allow myself to have a strong drink while I'm talking to people, and they will see this. But that's a little different than the self-indulgent things that I do at times. And another benefit, even though I don't like support groups and they're not for me right now, it is a great benefit to join one in the battle of vice with other people and for the same thing, though that's probably why I'm not part of it, because I don't share the exact guidelines. But it could be a very supportive thing, and I think it's a good thing if it's supportive and not like, oh, you messed up again, and not even like shaking your head no during a meeting. I mean, that hurts me, but unless I really know the person. But so you have to find a good group, or be really strong-willed, or just not take it as seriously. Instead of drinking and your addictions or anxiety, it's good to focus on your past pains, hurts, and labelings that are hard to deal with, and getting real and just not seeing them as a black and white thing, or it's not always set in stone. They call it the hurts, habits, and hangups. I've been to these groups a little bit. Don't want to say which ones, but I kind of know the idea. I tried at times, but it's really good to get over those things and find something better. Not such a black and white view, and get over how maybe people have called you things, or you just didn't fit in as well, or you have these beliefs about you that sometimes you just want to escape instead of dealing with them and journaling about them and seeing if you can change for the better. It's not easy to do at all, but it's definitely better than just avoiding it. Like I said, there's things that I really don't like about myself, how I've been judged in certain ways, and I still think about them constantly. It's affected me a lot, and at times I will drink to avoid it. But it's good to be honest about it and document it and share it with other people. Not necessarily, but at least do it yourself and kind of see how maybe some parts of it are right, some are not, but it's not entirely black and white. it's also highly important to develop beliefs and values about things, and just that are higher than the drinking or the habit or those bad negative thoughts that you instantly have. I struggle with depression as well, which probably means I shouldn't be drinking so much. And I'm not drinking too much, but it is high ABV, but just having that one. But that's what a lot of people say. But it's also good to have that higher power that's greater, which could be Jesus Christ if you want. It doesn't necessarily, but you have to believe in it more than the drinking, and it has to replace it. This is why I'm doing it. This is why I want to quit, and this is greater than that. And what that is for me, I do like JC a little bit, but I don't know if that's my higher power, but it's good to develop beliefs and values, or just keep yourself busy as well with things, books or activities, probably more likely, with supportive people who aren't drinking necessarily, or are okay with you not drinking. And I already talked about some other things I wrote here, and it's also just difficult to love and be present when you're addicted or anxious, but lightness can occur when you are actually present and you do actually love somebody, not necessarily in a really romantic way, but you're a loving and caring person, maybe how it's described in the Bible a little bit, in Corinthians. Not necessarily for marriage, but kind of what love is. Thank you for watching. Hope this wasn't pedantic or anything, but this video is a little rambly. It's about hitting rock bottom. I may have done that, may have not. I have a desire to, but I can't do it. I'm not very consistent either. All the best. Cheers. Thank you for watching.